That's important. So then let's hear from you guys. Everyone, just tell everyone your name, your major, and how do you feel in the current, pandemic extreme situation, and the reason you're taking a class, something like that. Right? Just a little brief introduction. We're gonna start as Mackenzie. Your name is the first on my screen.
Hello. My name is Mackenzie. I live in Texas, actually, so I'm an hour ahead of you guys. My major is public health, and I'm currently working from home, and I hate it. So that's how I feel about the pandemic right now.
Same feel here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Shania. You need to unmute yourself, Shania.
Oh, sorry. Hello.
That's all right.
My name is Shania, and I live in Farmington, New Mexico, and I'm a biology major, and I just work night shift, and it's fun.
Okay. Great to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Isaac? Isaac?
Hello.
Hi. We can hear you.
Oh yeah, my video's not working right now.
That's all right.
All right, but my name's Isaac. I'm from Reserve, and that's in New Mexico. My major is math education. The reason why I'm taking this class is because it's required for me.
Okay.
And my feeling about this pandemic thing is I don't like it at all.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, no problem.
Acer?
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
My name is Viviana, but that's my computer's name, so I can change. I don't know why.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. What is it? What was the
Just a little self-introduction. Your name, your major, how do you feel about the current pandemic situation, and the reason you're taking the course? Just anything that you want to.
Right. I live in El Paso, so I go back and forth, and so I really don't like the situation. I rather prefer to be like traveling, even though it's convenient, to be honest, because like I live over here and I take but I really enjoyed my hour drive over there in the campus, and I'm more like kinesthetic learning, so that's why I rather do things. And my major is animal science, so
it's
kind of like a prerequisite, but it sounds interesting. Hopefully I understand and learn something from it.
Great. Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, going at work, in the school, you have to do the work. I mean, now you have to do everything, the things every day. And when you stay home, what I feel is I always getting lazy. I always put things off, and that's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, you'll second guess like to do your work.
Yeah. Right,
but I have to go outside for my work because I work at a bank, so actually I have to work like.
Oh, okay. So how many hours do you need to work a week?
I'm sorry. Well, my work is part-time, so I work 20 hours, but the rest are working full hours, like 40 hours.
I see. Okay. So the next one will be Crystal. I'm just calling the name on my screen in order. So Crystal.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Very, very weak. Can you speak closer to the mic?
Can you hear
better.
me now?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Hi, my name is Crystal, and I'm studying biology, and I'm taking this class because it's required, and the pandemic, I don't really like it. So
Yeah, I guess no one does.
yeah.
But you're doing okay, right? Your family is okay.
Yeah. Yes. My family's doing great.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So next one is Laura.
Hi, my camera isn't working too
That's
well
okay.
right now.
Mhm.
I'm Laura, of course. I'm a geomatics major, which is essentially a fancy name for surveying, land surveying.
Mhm.
I'm in the engineering department. The pandemic is rough. As surveyor, though, we're classified as essential businesses, so
Mhm.
I've still been working, going out to the field.
Oh, I see.
I live at home with my 88-year-old dad, so it's like
Wow.
I really don't want to get him sick. So
I know.
I've been kind of, if I'm not outside and like out away from everyone, I don't go out. And I really, really hope this is over soon via vaccine, or it just decides where I'm gonna die, which I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Hopefully the vaccines will come out soon. And, just be cautious every time we come back in, just sanitize yourself.
Yeah,
High age is very, very high risk. So,
yeah. But I'm taking this class because one, it is a requirement for my degree, but also because it will help in other areas of surveying that I need help with. It's the basic sort of intro before some of the more higher level data adjustment classes.
exactly. All right. Thank you. Great. So next one will be Martina, sorry.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I just barely got into the meeting.
Yeah, that's all right. Just give everyone a self-introduction, your name, your major, your feeling about the current pandemic, and the reason you're taking the class. Just very general, you can add something if you like to.
Okay, my name is Martina Peterson, and my major is in public health. Right now I work part-time at Walmart, so that's why I'm doing my Zoom meeting through my vehicle right now.
I see.
And then the pandemic, my thoughts about it. I mean, it's kind of like new and a really different experience, but I guess we all manage and just follow policies and procedures for what we need to do to protect ourselves. And what else is the other thing?
The reason you're taking the class.
The reason I'm taking class is it's required for my major. And I had taken it before, so hopefully this time around I get to understand a little bit more.
I see. When did you take it last time, if you don't mind?
It was last spring.
Last spring. Okay, so 1 year. So then you still should have some kind of memory of something being covered, right? That could help you.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm gonna do it right away while I still have some of that still left in my brain.
Yeah, but thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, so did Monica already? Monica, have you already introduced yourself?
Hi, no.
Lost count. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Monica. I'm a civil engineering technology major. I'm taking this class because it's part of my degree program, but also because I want to get more knowledge into it because I know it might help me later on.
Right.
What I think about the pandemic, it's been tough. I mean, for me, because I have a lot of family out of the state.
Oh, I see.
Been able to travel and
yeah. Have you traveled to visit them during the pandemic?
No, I haven't. I actually work I'm an intern here at the city of Las Cruces.
I see.
So we can't leave out of state or else we'd have to quarantine ourselves. Yeah. So I mean,
it's hard time.
Yes, it's been interesting and just take it day by day.
Well, someone kind of told me the other day, the good thing is for us is like when we get old, like 70s or something, we can tell our grandchildren, hey, we experienced global.
We can tell our story.
It's a big experience that we went through in a lifetime, in a long.
Yeah.
But it's terrible.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you. So next one on my list is Amir.
Hello, can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Amir. I'm an information systems major, and I currently live in Virginia. And my thoughts about the pandemic are it's kind of inconvenient, but also kind of convenient since I'm in an IT major. So working with computers, I'm used to it. So like working at home is a little bit more convenient for me.
I see. So it doesn't affect your work or your job that much. You can still work on everything on internet.
Yeah, it's not as bad for me as it is for others.
I see. How's the situation over there?
Here, I think the cases are rising less quickly than New Mexico, but it's not that bad as other states.
I see. Well, thanks. All right. So next, Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna.
Hello.
I'm an animal science major, minoring in chemistry, biology, and human-animal interaction. In a way, I like the pandemic because I enjoy being at home with my family. But at the same time, it's like everyone else says, it's kind of inconvenient because I feel like my major is very hands-on.
Right.
So, it's kind of sucks in that sense, but yeah, I like being at home, but I am excited to go back for sure. And I'm taking this class just like everybody else because it's required. Math is not my strong suit, but I'll get through it.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else.
Unfortunately, math skill is something we have to require in the stats class. So, but it's not really hard math. In some sense, it's just tedious math. So as long as you be patient, you should be fine.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So the next one is Christian.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Loya. I'm taking this class like everyone else. It's required for my major. It's actually my last math class. I live in Anthony, New Mexico, and the pandemic sucks, obviously. I hate that I can't go to the gym. I like being active and being out and stuff, and I can't do nothing. Not even play basketball with my friends and everything, so it's it kind of sucks.
Yeah. So are you in the sports team? Do you play sports?
I play basketball, but just for fun. I'm in no sports team. I just,
I see.
It's a hobby. That's it. Yeah.
And you couldn't play anymore during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I can't even go to a park and,
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks.
I see. All right, thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
And Nicholas?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Groholfa. I'm a computer science major and taking the class because it's also a degree requirement. My thoughts on the pandemic, as much as it's been hard for everyone and we've canceled a bunch of trips. I actually think I picked up a bunch of new hobbies because of it. I started a garden, stuff like that.
I see. So what do you grow in the garden?
Right now we have tomatoes, a bunch of chili, and squash, watermelons, and cantaloupe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you grow or you grow all the time?
My parents used to grow a garden a really long time ago. I was probably 3 when we had a garden before.
I see. That's awesome. That's a good hobby, actually.
Yeah.
Give you some physical activities. Thank you. Brysa?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Brisa. I'm a public health major and I'm just taking this course because it's required for the program. my thoughts on the pandemic are that these are some sad and crazy times, but at the beginning of all this, I was honestly fine with it because I love being home and everything was good. But then now as we're going, I just cannot wait to get out.
I know that's the same feeling I have here. It's like a long break in the beginning, but then you get very, very bored.
Yes, that's how I've been.
Thank you, Brisa.
Thank you.
Lisbeth?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so my name is Lisbeth Rangel, but I'll just go by Liz. My major is psychology, and I'm taking this this course because it's required for my major. And my thoughts on the pandemic are basically just like I'm ready for it to be over. I'm ready to go out and do the usual things I used to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully we'll be over soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thanks. Christy?
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Christy. I'm a bio major and minoring in chemistry at NMSU. I live here in Las Cruces, and I haven't really, I don't know, I wish the pandemic was over as well. I do miss traveling and, interacting with people. I was a bartender before this, so yeah.
I see. Thanks, Christy. And next one, Jesus.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm Jesus. I'm studying ag biology, and I've on the pandemic, it's made a lot of changes, and I worked at NMSU, and then with the pandemic, like it closed down, and then we didn't work, and it's starting to open up again. But it's really made things really different, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
So do any of you have trouble access to the Zoom invitation? I have a couple of students saying they couldn't get in because the password is incorrect or something. Anyone had same experience? I think Mer has sent me an email about it, but I don't know about anyone else.
For the Zoom meeting?
Uh-huh.
It was kind of like it just kept saying it was on another that the host was in another meeting because it kept timing out. So then I had to go back and I just put in the user ID and the password all over again, and that's when I got access.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's the problem.
I didn't have any issues, but I did notice that under the Zoom tab, there are 2 meetings for each day at the same time, so that might be an issue.
Oh, I see. Because I teach 2 classes. I don't know. In my Canvas, maybe those 2 meetings will be appearing. Is the other one at 1 o'clock?
I think when I looked at them, both of them were listed for 10 o'clock for the same day, but there were like 2 meetings for each day at the same time. So that might be causing some issues.
Oh, I think I know what's going on. The other one was office hour. I think well, if you click on, did you go to Canvas, click on the link, or did you just click the link I sent you to the email?
I clicked the one you sent to the email, and then it told me I had to download the app because I was doing it on my phone.
Uh-huh. That it worked, right?
Right. I didn't have any issues.
Okay. Thank you.
I just clicked on the first one on the Zoom meeting list under the Zoom tab on Canvas.
Right. That's supposed to be the link that you click. Thanks. I'm gonna type this email very quick to a student who has struggle here. Just bear with a second. All right, thank you. So where are we? I think next one is Denise.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Denise. My major is in horticulture. I decided to take this class because apart from it being for my degree, I think it would be a good class to take for research, to understanding research better.
Exactly.
Yeah, and my thoughts on the pandemic, I've actually enjoyed staying at home, but it's a lot harder when you're taking classes because of all the distractions here at home.
Yeah.
But,
If you're alone, you're fine. But when you have little kids running around, it's your trouble.
yeah.
So do you have a plan to go to graduate school since you mentioned the research?
I do, but I'm thinking of doing an MD PhD.
Okay. Awesome.
That's my goal for right now.
So what year are you right now, junior or senior?
I'm already a senior.
You're already a senior. So you already have planned where you want to go for that degree, right?
I'm still thinking about it.
I see. Thanks. You know, statistics is going to be very, very critical if you want to go to graduate school for any major. Anytime you conduct a research, you need some statistic. And that's absolutely correct. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Next one is Claudia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Claudia Jimenez. I'm actually a transfer student from UTEP, but I also attend UTEP. Basically, I needed this class to finish off my degree. I'm a senior. As far as the pandemic, it's kind of, it's hard when you're always up and down.
Yeah.
And like, I believe it was Christian, like when you have like that routine with the gym, it completely throws off everything. So it's causing like imbalances for everyone. But at the same time, I think it's good because it helps us slow down to realize like what we need to look at and the things we need to fix within ourselves or to get closer with family and so forth.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
We always have a lot of things that we put off, and this is a good time to catch up. I think I noticed when the pandemic started, the Home Depot has many people buying stuff and doing work on the houses, I think.
Right. And that's one of the things we're doing as well.
Oh, you're doing that too? Thank you. All right, next one is Sierra.
Hi, so I'm a biology major, and so obviously this is a requirement, but I've taken statistics in the past actually, and I usually struggle with math, but statistics I actually liked.
Oh, okay.
Because the reason I struggle with math, I think, is that a lot of times it doesn't really have an application and statistics does.
Right.
So it's easier for me to understand. And I think the hard part of this everything is been the effect on my kids. My son had just started playing soccer and he only got to play one game before everything stopped, and they haven't gotten to socialize with their friends, and it's been hard to keep them busy and keep them happy through all of this.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2 sons. They're 3 and almost 8.
Oh, wow. You're going to have a lot of work for both of them.
Right. Yeah. It's been hard to keep them happy through all this, not getting to see their friends or do anything.
Is someone able to help?
Yeah, my parents help me a lot, but it's still just, they want to see their friends and they want to go and play soccer and, do fun things.
Yeah, the 3-year-old is going to be a lot of work. I mean, I have two kids too. I have 2 daughters, but they're older, 14 and 7. But still, there's things you have to do every day.
Right.
All right, thanks. I think Elizabeth.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth, and I'm an animal science major. And I don't know what else we had to answer.
How do you feel about the pandemic and the reason you're taking the course?
Well, I'm taking this class because it's required for my major. And well, at the beginning I wasn't bothered that much by staying home, but now I'm really over it already, and I want it to be over.
Yeah, that's most people feel too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did I miss any of the students? I think all the students introduced themselves. So we have a guest here. She will be helping you guys as tutor. She's an employee from the Center Tutoring Office in Koba Center, and her name is Celeste. She used to be my student as well. So Celeste, can you do a self-introduction about yourself so students can recognize you?
Hi guys, I'm Celeste, obviously, and I'm your embedded tutor for this course. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So embedded tutoring means that I have access to the Canvas page, and you guys can...
We lost you, Celeste. Hello? All right, is it me or Celeste being lost?
I can't hear her.
You can't hear her?
Can't hear.
Okay. Okay. Well, she'll come back. We have a new student coming in. I think he struggled very much. Maybe just because that extra meeting I put up there. Sorry for the confusion. So Holly, now just do a self introduction about yourself, your name, your major, the reason you're taking the course, and how do you feel about the pandemic now? Holly? Holly? All right. I think she couldn't hear me. Celeste, you want to continue on?
Sure, can everyone hear me again?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what happened, but...
We just lost you when you talk.
So I can access the Canvas, and I'm pretty sure you guys can message me on Canvas, and you can also email me from the Campus Tutoring Center website. And yeah, you can contact me anytime if you need any help. My hours technically are 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock, but those are pretty flexible. If you need to schedule an appointment outside of that time, that's also okay.
So Celeste, do you know what kind of platform you're going to be using? Is it going to be Zoom or other things if a student need to, ask you questions?
I use Zoom. There's also the Campus Tutoring Center has a drop-in Zoom, and they can, so you would go to the website, and I'll put all of this in a Canvas message so everyone has access to it all the time.
Okay.
But you can go to the Tutoring Center website and then click on the drop-in Zoom meeting, and someone will be there to help you connect to whatever tutor you need, or if you just need help with Zoom, stuff like that.
All right. Thank you. All right. I think that's about everyone. Holly, are you able to hear us? Well, I think she left. Maybe she'll come back in. So we're gonna go ahead and start. So first, I would like to go over the course structure on Canvas. Well, maybe, sorry. First, I'm gonna just give you a quick introduction about what statistics is. I'm gonna share my screen here. All right, so I think some of you have taken stats before, and most of you are first time taking stats. So can someone tell me about what statistic does and then whatever you know about statistics?
It's just kind of analyzing data and probabilities of things and taking samples from larger samples.
Great, that's pretty much all the information, but very, very summarized. Awesome. Anyone else want to chip in?
It can help your critical thinking skills also, on top of what the last person said.
Okay, okay. All right, great. So that's what statistical basically mostly just like you know, the first student, I don't recognize her name. I don't have that, you know, so on there. Says statistic is about analyzing data. It's for researching. So anytime when you conduct a research, you're going to have a interest group. So whatever you want to study, that group will be your interest, right? So if you want to study trees, then all trees will be your interest. That will be, you know, what you want to study. And if you want to study animals, you want to study people, study buildings, bridges, you know, anything, right? So that group of individuals is called population in stats. So population. I'm gonna bring a highlighter here, okay? So you want to know something about the population, but how do you know some? How do you, you know something about the population? What do you need to get? We need to collect data, right? We need to collect data to show evidence. You can't just arbitrarily make a statement and expect people to believe you. You need to provide proof, and data is proof, right? So then you want to collect data, but most of the time the population size is very, very large. Imagine if you want to study all the trees in New Mexico, that will be your population. Then how many trees are there? If you want to collect data from the entire population, it's just impossible, right? And most of the researchers are just like that. You can't really collect data from the entire population. The population size is too much to manage, right? So instead, we take a small portion of the data. So we take it out as a sample, okay? So this group is called a sample group, right? So then you collect data from the sample. But when you collect data from the sample and then you try to conclude toward the population, you need to make sure the sample is a good representative of the population, right? A sample really tells the same story of the population. At least it's more likely to tell the same story as a population. Then what individuals do is choose from the population so that the sample is a good representative of the population. So that's related to a very important concept called sampling. But we're not going to talk too much about sampling. It's just too complicated. We're going to introduce the concept, but very, very, very briefly. Okay. So the sampling process is basically, you need to make sure when you choose the samples from the population, you can't introduce any personal bias. Even though not personal bias, you can't introduce any systematic bias. So you need to make sure all the individuals you choose are being randomly selected or randomly chosen. So you don't know what's being chosen. So that way, you know, it's more likely the sample is going to be telling the true story of the population. There's still a likelihood of sample is biased, but when you do random, that's the best way to avoid the bias, right? So then once you collect the data from the sample, then you have a data to analyze, right? So you want to describe the data. So you can describe the data using different approaches, and all different ways of describing data is called a descriptive statistic. Right, so that's like the the lower level of statistical analysis. Just you know, describe what kind of trend, what kind of feature stands out from the data being collected. And that's descriptive statistic. And you can, of course, using different approaches, like make a graph or calculate some measures to tell something about the sample. So, and then after describing the sample, even though you have a clear idea what's going on in a sample, right? You basically can calculate anything you want to describe different features. But your research question is still going to be on the population, right? The population is what your research interest is. So then we need to use the sample information we grabbed to conclude back to the population. And that is called inferential statistic. So inferences. So inferences is like a higher level of statistical analysis, right? So you conclude toward the population, okay? And then in order to apply the inferences, inferences is a procedure. It's a procedure to draw conclusions back to the population. But in order to understand how the procedure works, we need to learn things about, statistic theories. So statistical theory is all about probability. So we need to know what the probability is. And the probability are very, very well managed if you have a known distribution. So we're going to learn kind of some distributions. We're only going to learn two distributions. One is called a binomial distribution. The other is normal distribution. Binomial may be new for you guys, but I think a lot of you have heard of the normal distribution. At least you know the symmetric bell-shaped curve, right? That's the most important distribution in statistics. So basically, this diagram gave us the entire coursework for the semester. We have general three clusters. We have descriptive statistic, as well as the sample and the population, sampling process and describing sample. That's our cluster one. And then we have cluster two, will be probability and distributions. So that's the theory part of the class, right? And then we have cluster three, will be inferences. How do you draw conclusions back to the population, right? Does everything make sense? Anyone have any questions at this point? All right, so, when I say it using the statistic term, maybe a lot of people will get confused. What does it mean, right? So I'm going to use a small example to kind of illustrate the process. So for example, someone want to do a research. He want to answer a question. Is the average price of houses in Albuquerque is higher than $300,000, or is the average price of houses in Albuquerque is not higher than $300,000? So we need to basically decide which statement is true, right? One of them is true, right? But how do we determine? So we need to show people proof, right? We need to show evidence. Then, we can go to a website. There's a website, redfin.com. It's a real estate website. They will have the listings of houses for sale. So if we search for Albuquerque, and then we have different houses being published, right? So there are different prices. Like this one is almost $400,000, and this one is like $1,455,000, and all different prices, right? But there are too many houses. When you look one by one, it doesn't give you much idea. You want to get, the entire group as, the whole group. So on this website, there's an option to download all the data. So you can download all. All right, so it's gonna opening over here. So then basically this will be a general format of a data structure. You know, this is too overwhelming. If you never have experience doing statistic, right? This is too much. So many values. What do I focus, right? So this is what we're going to learn in this class. We're going to learn to analyze, any kind of research data. So in a common data structure, you have columns and rows in the Excel format. So every column is a variable, and every row is an individual, right? So basically, every row is a house that's listed on that website for sale. And every column is some characteristic of that house being on sale, okay? So for example, you have sale type, property type, address, city, and then of course you have the most important one is the price, right? Where's the price? Oh, right here. Okay. So then we have this data, then we need to describe it. So how do I describe it? And before I do that, we need to learn about variables. Okay, because when you describe the data, it depends on what kind of variables you're trying to describe. In general, variables have two different types, either categorical variable or numerical variable. And I think a lot of you guys already have that sense, right? Categorical variable, just categorizing the individuals. Like, we have a car, the car's color, the car's model. These are categorical variable. And numerical variable will be, a measure, right? Like the car's price, the car's MPG value, right? The car's body weight. So these are numerical variable. And there are more detailed categories. Numerical, it can be discrete and continuous. Categorical can be nominal, ordinal. We're gonna skip that for now, but you're gonna learn that, in the lecture, okay? So the idea is, if you wanna describe a numerical variable versus describing a categorical variable, you need to use different graph, okay? So to describe a numerical variable, we need to use a histogram or box plot. There's a stamp plot as well. And to describe a categorical variable, you need to use a bar chart or pie chart. Okay, so for example, let's look at the data set we just downloaded. This is a lot of information. We have 351 houses being listed, right? So then my first question is this data containing all the houses in the population? Is this data for the population? Or is this data? No, this is for the sample, right? Because population are all the houses listed, all the houses in Albuquerque. And this is only part of the houses in Albuquerque, right? Right. So next question is, this is a sample from the population. Is this a random sample?
No, because it's a certain neighborhood.
All right. So
or a certain.
Go ahead.
I was just saying it was a certain area.
I see. So these are only the houses being listed on this website, right? So it's not a random sample. It's not being randomly chosen. It's only the houses being published in this web. And some website has higher end of the houses, and some website will target to the lower end of the houses, right? So when you use a different search engine to search, it already biased your sample selection, right? Does it make sense? This is not a random sample. So then if you make a conclusion based on this sample, there could be some, issues. You could have a chance that screw up your analysis, basically, just because the sample is not random. But a lot of times, random sample is not easy to obtain. For the houses, it's not too bad. You can randomly choose a house. But most of the time when you study people, it will be hard to randomly select people. Because if that person you randomly choose, doesn't want to participate in the study, You can't force, right? So, and a lot of times when you don't have a random sample, you can still do the analysis that you do, pretending it's a random sample, but just in the end, or in the beginning, you need to give a note saying, hey, you know, this is not a random sample, right? And most of the time when you don't have a random sample, you need to make sure the sample size is large, okay? So this has too much information. We're gonna use a subset of this data. So just so that some categorical variables is not that overwhelming. It doesn't have that many categories, right? But the way to treat it is the same. So this one has 68 houses. It's just a subset of that, okay? Then to describe this sample, you're gonna look at the variables of your interest. So what are you interested in from the research question? The research question is about the price, right? We wanna see if the average house price in Albuquerque is higher or lower than $300,000. Then, of course, the most important variable for you will be the price variable, right? So then how do I describe this variable? This is a numerical variable for sure. So we can describe it using stem plot, histogram, and a box plot. I'm not gonna draw a stem plot here. That will be terrible to do it, you know, on a computer software. It's easy to do it by hand and with a small sample size. You're gonna learn that in the lecture. But if we wanna study the price and you wanna describe this variable, just, you know, focus on this variable by itself. Ignore everything else, right? So then we're gonna do two ways to describe it using graph. One is histogram, the other is box plot, okay? So to do a histogram, you click on variable and go to insert and the recommended chart, and then choose, you can go to all chart as well and choose histogram, right? So this is what the histogram look like. So I know this is kind of small print. I hope you guys can see this on the chart. I'm gonna make it a little bigger. So then you can get some good ideas of what the house's price is like, right? The most of the houses are sold between 99,900 and 260,000, and then, you know, for so on. And you can label the values as well, actually. So you can see how many houses are sold in each of the price break. So this is called a histogram. Right? So it gave us very good information about the houses. So what kind of information can we get actually from here? We have, other than the detailed information, we can get 4 different measures, right? I'm gonna make this a little bigger so you guys can see better. So when you look at a histogram, the first thing we can look at is the mode. So the mode in statistics is about the most frequent value. You know, for a numerical value, what is the most frequent number, right? So in a histogram, the mode is referring to the most frequent mode. The mode that has the, you know, the class or the bin that has the most frequent houses in there. And of course, in this mode will be between 99,900 and 259,900, right? So that's the most of the houses being sold at, right? Mode. And next thing is center. Center is like the middle house price. You know, you have all the houses listed. What is the middle price of all the houses, right? You can roughly estimate on the, you know, on the histogram as well. When you look at the chart, never expect to get an accurate measure for anything. Just roughly estimate, okay? So we have 68 houses total. Then the middle price will be about 34, right? So 33 houses are here. 34 houses will be right at the beginning of the second bar, right? So you can kind of estimate, you know, if you want to guess, will be about 260,000, right? That's beginning of the second bar, right? Right, a center, middle priced house. And then next one will be spread. Spread is like the entire range of the variable. So for the price here, the houses are sold between 99,900 and 1,219,900, right? So that's the spread. It's very far spread, right? The spread is pretty large. Okay. And then next feature we look at is shape. So when we have a numerical variable, the numerical variable has a shape. Okay. So what is shape? You need to identify mode first. Once you have mode, mode is right here, right? This is supposed to be a straight line. So from the mode to both sides of the data on the histogram, you're going to draw tails. Right? I draw all the way to the bottom. Okay? So you have two tails, right? So the shape has three options. Either symmetric or left skewed or right skewed. Okay. Then symmetric means after you draw the two tail are similar in length. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. As long as they're comparable, they're similar, then we call that symmetric data. And of course, this is not symmetric, right? This is skewed. If it's not symmetric, it's skewed. And the skew has a direction. We need to indicate the skew direction as well. So the longer tail side is the skewed side. If the skewed side is in a large number, we call it right skewed or positively skewed. Basically, when you have axes, the right-hand side is a bigger number, right? It's positive. And then if the longer tail is on the small number side, this will be negatively skewed or left skewed, okay? And of course, in this, what kind of skew is it? Right skewed, right? So that's very important information. That tells us, you have more cluster on the small price side, and the large price side is scattered. It's not as clustered anymore, right? Shape. And then the last one you can get from the histogram is called outlier. So outliers are individuals that has extreme values. So if you observe some values that's extremely different from the majority of the data, that's considered as outlier. Okay, so the outlier is, of course, this individual, right? You have one house, the price is huge, right? So whatever this house price is, you only have one house, and that's your outlier. Okay, so we can describe the data, right? So you can also use a box plot, but we're going to skip that. You can learn a box plot in the lecture. I'm just going to show you, hey, we can describe the data using the graphs, and we can get the main ideas very quickly, right? So making graph is great, but the thing is, when you have a graph, it's hard to identify the accurate measure of each of the features. So if you have two histograms side to side, and you try to compare the center of it, or you try to compare the spread of it, sometimes it will be hard to decide which one has higher center, which one has higher spread, right? Because they're so similar. So then we want to quantify these features. So once you quantify the features, it's easy to compare. 2.1 is greater than 2, right? So that's a lot easier. So we can describe the data using numbers as well. And numbers basically just quantified feature, in a graph. So the most important feature we focus on every time for any statistic analysis will be center and the spread. Okay, center and the spread, we always need to describe them. Okay, so for center, the most common center is mean Of course, you have median, but we're not gonna talk about that now. And for the spread, we use standard deviation. Okay, it's called standard deviation. I think you might have heard of those terms already. Okay, STD, standard deviation. So then for mean, we can calculate, mean basically just taking average, right? So you take average of all the prices of the sample, that will be mean. And then for standard deviation, basically, you're gonna just make a just do a standard deviation function instead of a mean function, and then adjust to make sure they follow, your data range. Okay, so that's mean. That's standard deviation. If you have a different data, you can look at, you can calculate a mean for both group, and you can easily compare, the mean and the standard deviation differences, right? Okay. So this is describing a single variable, but sometimes in the data, well, this is just a numerical variable. You can also describe a categorical variable as well. So for example, you go back to the data, you're looking at price, but if you're familiar with Albuquerque, it gives you the locations here, right? So you want to see where the houses are located. Like someone mentioned earlier, these are just some neighborhood. Maybe these neighborhoods are the higher end neighborhood in Albuquerque, so that will inflate the price, right? It's not really representing the true average if that's the case. So you want to describe the location, right? So then we can describe location variable. Just look at location by itself. Ignore all the other variables. So then we want to make either a pie chart or a bar chart for categorical variable, okay? So how do I make a pie chart or bar chart? We can do it by hand, but here we're gonna do it in Excel. So we're gonna duplicate this column. I don't want to destroy the original data. So then on here, if you go to the data tab on top, there is a tab on top option is remove duplicates. Just click on that and select all, and then basically what you want is get a frequency table for every different categories in terms of that variable. So for location, we have different neighborhoods, different categories, right? So we want to get just distinct values of those. And then we want to get a frequency table, so we need a count, right? Get a frequency. So you can go ahead and count by hand, or you can use the statistic, the function in Excel. So there's a function called a COUNTIF function. COUNTIF function has two arguments. The range will be the data range, right? So you count between A2 to A69, but you're only gonna count it if that value is the location of interest. So you have 23 houses in Southeast Heights, okay? And then you can just modify this function. You wanna fix the sample range, right? Oh, wrong place, okay? So then you're gonna copy this function to the next. So this will go to the same data range, but it's gonna go for only Northeast Heights, right? And then when you do that, if you have more categories, you can just drag it down. So it will count it automatically for all the categories. And it's always good to check if the function is correct. Did you forget to, fix the column and the row numbers? Okay. But the key thing is you got this frequency table, and based on this, we can make a bar chart or pie chart. So for example, we highlight the data, go to insert and the recommended chart, and go to all charts, and then you're gonna choose a pie chart, for example. Okay, I can choose data labels. So this is a pie chart, right? It tells you how many houses are, located in each of the neighborhood. And then if you're familiar with Albuquerque area, you can look at this. Hey, is this really gonna represent all the houses in Albuquerque? Is this gonna, give some bias, right? That's good information. And then you can make a bar chart as well, very similarly. So if you have the frequency table, go to insert, recommended chart, and O chart, and then choose a bar chart. This is horizontal, and then, and then the column is vertical. You can do either way, okay? So then this is a bar chart. Okay, so the bar chart and pie chart gave us exactly the same information. So you can label the bar. This is kind of weird to label the bar on the bottom. Oh, this is not labeling. Where's more options? Oh, here. Okay. So then for, the bar chart and pie chart gave us exactly the same information, just kind of different categories and account for each category, like a distribution of the house price, right? So this is describing a categorical variable, right? And then when you look back to the data set now, hey, even though we're interested in the price, but is it fair to compare a house price with like 3,000 square feet versus 5,000 square feet? Or, 200 thousand square feet. Is it fair to compare those houses? We need to look at the house price versus the area. There will be a relationship between them, right? So we want to study the relationship between the house price and the square footage of the house. Okay. So if we want to describe the relationship between those two variables, then just only focus on these two variables and ignore the rest, just like that. So bring those two variables over here. Oh, this is a square foot price, not square footage. Where's the square footage? Oh, this is square footage. Sorry. All right. So you have square foot and you have house price, and you want to see the relationships. So you can do is you go to insert, recommended chart, and then O chart, and then you choose scatter plot. So this is a scatter plot. It shows you the relationship between the house price and the house square footage. And before you plot it, you would expect you have a positive relationship, right? The bigger the house, most likely the higher the price, right? And that's what they observe as well. From the relationship, the scatter plot, we can observe some main features as well. And the main features we're going to observe here will be everything is about relationship. So we have relationship form. So what kind of relationship is it? In general, it will be either linear or nonlinear, right? So you can kind of see there is a linear relationship, right? So the relationship is a linear relationship. And then next one is relationship direction. So this is what I mentioned earlier, right? So is it positive or negative? Basically, when one variable go high, go up, what will the other variable, go? Is it going to go up the same time, or they're going to go the different direction, right? If they're going the same direction, we call that a positive relationship. If they're different, opposite direction, when one variable increase, the other variable will decrease accordingly, that will be a negative direction, right? And next one will be strengths. So how strong is the relationship, right? So when you look at it, it's pretty strong except a few points, right? So you can say this is kind of strong. And then lastly, relationship outlier. So everything is about relationship. Even the strength is about relationship strengths as well, right? So are there any outliers with data? So how do we measure outliers? When you do outliers in scatter plot, you're gonna look at one measure, and that's called the deviation, okay? So the distance from the point to the proposed form is called the deviation. Okay, so you could have positive deviation, you could have negative deviations, right? Then to evaluate the strength of the relationship, you need to kind of roughly estimate the total amount of deviations. So basically, are the points close to the proposed form or are the points far away from the proposed form? So most of the points are pretty close, right? But you're gonna have some standing out. If there are any points standing out, their deviation is huge compared to the other points. These points will be considered as outlier, right? So if the form is like this, you're gonna see this one is most likely the outlier, right? And this one probably gonna be outlier too, right? And so is this one, right? And the other ones are fine, but this is again subjective. Different people may have different opinions for something that's close, but you're gonna get the same big picture, right? So this is describing relationship. So from the scatter plot, you can get a relationship form, direction, strengths, and then outlier. And that's very important to study the relationships. Okay. And again, from the graph, it's nice. You can visualize, you can see the things, you have a visual picture. But the thing is, if you want to compare relationships between two groups of data, if you have a relationship in houses in Albuquerque, you have a relationship for houses in Las Cruces, then you want to see which relationship is stronger. Then by looking at the scatter plot, it will be a pain, right? But if you can quantify that, it will be so much easier to compare. So we can quantify this linear relationship only for linear relationship. To quantify it, we use a term called correlation. So with correlation, we can quantify the relationship, and correlation can be calculated using a Correl function. We're going to talk about how to calculate correlation in class, but here, we're going to use Excel. So correlation function in Excel has two arguments, basically just a two variable data range. And the correlation is positive 0.837. So this one number tells us everything you can observe from the scatter plot, basically. So for example, for correlation value for this one number, the sign will tell us the direction. Okay. And then the value of this will tell us the strengths. Okay. So based on this one number, you can see that we have a positive, strong. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mention strong or weak yet. So the value will tell you strengths, right? How do I tell if it's strong or weak? If the value is close to 1, that will indicate strong. And if it's close to 0, that will indicate it's weak. Okay, so now if we summarize all together, 0.837. So we have a positive, strong, and the form is always linear because when you talk about the correlation, it's always for linear relationship, right? So direction, strengths, and form, right? Everything observed from the scatter plot is told by just that one number. Except that we couldn't tell if there's an outlier or not based on your correlation, right? So there's a shortcome from the correlation value. So making scatter plots is always recommended because it gives you extra information. So we can describe the data, right? So that's descriptive statistic. And then this is only about the house in a sample. It doesn't really tell us about the population, yet, right? So we need to go through an inference procedure to conclude back to the population. So based on the sample, if we assume it's a random sample, what can we conclude about all the houses in the population, right? So inferences is very much complicated. I don't want to give you a fright in the very beginning, so we're gonna skip that, but slowly we're gonna approach that. But this is basically almost just the first cluster of the course, descriptive statistic, right? Any questions so far? All right, so now we still have some time. I want to take a 5 minutes break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about a Canvas setup. All right, so if you have any questions when you review the course, please let me know. And also, this is my, I practiced a little for last spring, but literally, this is the first time I published the whole course online. So there might be some bad links or some information not provided. So let me know if there are any issues for the time you review the course. We're gonna meet again back in 5 minutes, all right? So 11:18, we're gonna start again. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So give me a thumbs up if you're back. All right, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna continue. We're gonna just walk through the Canvas just in case you have any questions. And also, if you have any questions about the Canvas, it's a good time to ask now so I can address it at one time for more people. All right, so if you look at the Canvas, this is the home page, right? The syllabus is linked over here. You can click this to view the syllabus, and I hope everyone already at least browsed through the syllabus, okay? So the textbook is highly recommended, but it's not required. You can buy this textbook. It used to be you can find online for like $5, and now I think increased to like about $15, but it's still very affordable. If you already have any introductory statistic textbook, it will work fine as well. So the textbook is not required, but I want everyone to have a reference book for. So, anytime when I talk about some concepts and you guys feel confused about my lecture, you have a reference book to compare, and that way it will help you to, clear some confusions. So please make sure you have a reference book. Any introductory statistic book will do. And this text, my chapters is consistent with this textbook. So when you have a different textbook, the chapter titles and orders may be inconsistent. So you need to match the concept with that textbook rather than the chapter, orders, right? And my office hour is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 10. I thought I put 10 to 11, I thought. I'm sorry. So there's a typo here. It should be 10 to 11. Okay, 10 to 11. And if you have any questions, and I know some of you guys are working, so you can't really meet with me during that time. If that's the case, you're more than welcome to make an appointment with me. Just send me an email ahead of time so we can do just a Zoom meeting anytime, you know, if both of us are available. Okay. And you can send an email to me through this email, but I recommend you to send an email through Canvas because Canvas email is clean of garbage. It's all the email, it only contains email communication between you and me. My regular email box has tons of garbage email. I need to delete every day, like 100 emails. I almost think of creating a new email account, but I guess I couldn't. I registered everything with my official email, and that's a mistake. So if your email is still clean, do not use it for other purposes. It's crazy. The course objective, you know, just basically give you some ideas of how statistics work. At least you know the structure of the statistics. And prerequisites, you need to be proficient in algebra. We don't have hard math, but you need to know how to do algebras, like add, subtract, multiply, divide, square roots, and also solving an equation, right? Like 2x plus 5 equals to 10, what is x, right? The simple equation like that, that's enough. And supplies, everyone need to have a calculator. Please have a calculator. I can't monitor you since this is online version. If you're good at computing using Excel or other things, that's fine, but I want everything to be manual work. I don't just take, I'm not gonna give you credits if you don't show me the process for any work, okay? You need to show me the process. It need to be a manual work, right? And homework, so the summer course is very, very intense. Homework is almost due every day from Monday to Thursday. So please make sure you have enough time to study. You know, it's very, very tough, I know. You need to watch the video or go through the PowerPoint for like 2 hours, and you're probably gonna need 2 hours on homework. At least you need 4 hours to spend every day. But you do have weekends off, so, you know, and I publish all the course early, so you have access to the later chapters if you are ahead, so you can go ahead and move on. But make sure you catch the due date, don't miss it, okay? For the homework, for every homework, there will be 20 points for being on time. So if you submit a homework on time, you got that 20 points bonus. And if you're late, the maximum you get for that particular assignment, it will be 80 instead of 100, right? So don't miss the due date. And the quiz will be after every homework. So once the homework is due, the next day the quiz is due, right? So there will be some overlap. So you have a quiz for the previous chapter due, and then you have a homework for the current homework due sometimes, okay? We're gonna have 2 midterm exams and 1 final exam, so a total of 3 exams, okay? I normally give 3 midterms, but since we have, you know, this online version, it's not easy to give exams, so I cut it to 2. But, you know, it's the same style and standard. And the accommodation, so basically if you believe you need some special accommodations, you have some kind of disabilities, make sure you contact the Student Accessibility Service office. So they were gonna give you an evaluation, and then they're gonna send a recommendation letter to me. And please do that early if you have the situation. Otherwise, you're gonna lose some of the benefit for the time that you don't have the accommodation form. And the grading, we have 3 exams. Each exam will take 20% of your grade. So that will be a total of 60% for all 3 exams combined. And the quiz will take 10%, homework will be 25%, and attendance will be 5%. So we're gonna talk about attendance, how attendance is recorded, okay? And then by the end of the semester, If you get a 90 or higher on total score, that'd be A grade, and 80 to 89 is B, and so on. So just plain grading. There's no plus and minuses for the course. And then by the very end, we have a tentative schedule. Basically, most likely we're going to follow the schedules as scheduled. Please plan, especially for the exam date, all right? You're going to have access for the exam the whole day from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. for the exam. And I'll try to make myself available in front of a computer when you do the exam on the exam day. So I don't want to extend it too late, because if you take the exam have questions and I'm not available, then it will be hard, right? So I want to make sure you at least attend the exam during the schedule time, so that when you have questions, I will be there. And the exam will be about 2 hours, I think, for the final, maybe 2.5 hours. So you can start anytime as long as you finish in, within the scheduled time. Okay, so all 3 exams already scheduled on the date. If you have conflicts, even though it's not likely people will travel during the time, but if you do, or you have family emergencies or hospital visits, contact me. Let me know so we can work something out. Okay, so either you take the exam at a different time early, or we can or I can have the exam excuse for you. But contact me. Don't hold it off to yourself. So any questions about the syllabus at this point?
I do, sir.
Yes.
For the exams, I saw that you have like Zoom meetings. It's gonna be like the same timing, like 10 to 12, like 2 days.
Right, I think I scheduled 10 to 12, if I double check here. The Zoom meeting for exam 1, yeah, starting at 10. It didn't have I think it's 10 to 12, but this is just to prepare the exam. You don't have to be here if you understood the concepts pretty much. This is only for when you have questions. So I plan 2 Zoom meetings for each of the exam. 2 days. So for the first day, I'm probably gonna just outline everything, very brief for you guys to link chapters together. And then the second day, probably just question and answer session.
Okay, but my question is, are we gonna keep like it's because I go to work, so I was just wondering, are we gonna have like constant meetings?
No, we don't have any required constant meeting for the entire semester. All the meetings are optional. Even for this one, it's not required, even though I hope everyone will join. I will record this meeting so that even if you're not here, you have access to it.
Okay, thank you.
And for the exam review, I can have it recorded as well. But the problem is the question answered for other students may not be the questions you have, right? It will be best that you ask questions.
Yeah,
but of course, if you couldn't make it to that office hour, make an appointment with me. We can meet at separate time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Oh, and I don't know if you're gonna mention about the attendance part.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna go through that. So this is just for the syllabus. Any questions about the syllabus at this point? All right, so now let's look at the course structure. So we were at home, right? So my office hour is linked right here. I know this might confuse some students. If you click on this link today, this is a different meeting. This is only for office hour, right? I'm sorry for the confusion, okay? So in the future, if you wanna join me 10 to 11, Monday through Thursday during the summer, you can click this link with this password and you can meet with me for any questions. Right, and then these are just the schedule we saw earlier. So I want to warn you that the summer course is very intense. So if you look at the calendar here, you have many things to do every day. Right, So we start here today. Tomorrow, we kind of have a break. We don't do anything. But if you have time, please go ahead and start. You know, all the chapters before the first exam are already open. Okay, if you can start early, you know, go ahead. Okay, so every day from Monday to Thursday, you're gonna have homework due, unless we have an exam. And quiz occasionally are gonna be on Friday because homework is due on Thursday. Okay, so you have attendance check, you have homework, you have quiz. So make sure you know you follow the schedule. It's very, very fast. It's not like a regular semester. If this is the first time you're taking summer classes, please be warned, okay? This is very fast-paced. It's a lot faster than regular semester courses. We teach the same amount of content, but in like 1/3 of the time, right? Okay. So then let's go back. So what you need to do is actually going through the course. Let me go change the settings to be student settings, student view. So that this will be the same thing as what you see for the left panels. So what you need to do is just go through modules. Everything is set up in modules, okay? So this is the first day meeting. Today's meeting link is provided here. And if you use the meeting link and password, you should be able to access to this meeting. And this is office hour, meeting time and link and password, right? And then afterward, it's the content, okay? So chapter 1, learning objective, click next. You can either watch a video or read the PowerPoint files, okay? This is a pre-recorded video. You can watch it anytime. It will be a YouTube video. So if I open it, you're gonna link to a YouTube, okay? So then if you want to read the PowerPoint files, it will be faster, but you're gonna miss, you know, some explanation that I have during the video. So it's like you study by yourself versus you study from a teacher. I mean, depend on you. I prefer to study from a teacher when someone can instruct me what's going on instead of, you know, just figure out everything by myself. And after that, you have an attendance check. Okay, so either way, if you watch the video or you watch the PowerPoint files, you should be able to tell what are the two animals being mentioned. Okay, that's just kind of proof that you watched the video, you studied. Okay, it's just one question: what's the two animals being mentioned during the video or in the PowerPoint files? Either way. Okay. And then we have 2 chapters. So next one will be chapter 2, our learning objective, and then chapter 2 video, so another video, and then another attendance check. So for this chapter, what are the two animals? And then next one will be the homework. Okay, the homework is online. There's no time limit. As long as you finish on time, you're gonna be graded on time. So there'll be multiple choice questions, or you know, the first question is just being on time or not. You don't need to answer anything. I will check when you submit it, is it on time or not? If you submit on time, you got 20 points for that homework, okay? And then afterward, you have multiple choice questions. You know, just indicate what the answer is. You have short answers, right? So you need to provide answers. And you have calculation process, and these are short answers as well. So these will be some calculation involved. So it will be best that you indicate, you know, what part you're referring to for each part of the answer you have, and make sure you answer all the parts, right? And label them accordingly, and so on, just like that. Okay, so there will be some calculation involved as well. Any questions? All right, I want to point out something. In the calculation, there will be some mathematical equations or formulas to use. And it's not easy to type this sum of xi minus x bar square thing, right? So if you couldn't type it, that's okay. But please have a good label. Do the best you can, like sum xi minus x bar and square. Something like that will be fine. And if you're interested, someone really want to do a professional or a very good way of typing those out, there is a function type here. So you can do the function here. And for example, if you want to do a sum function, and the sum function here, and then you want to do xi minus x bar with a parenthesis, right? So you go to parenthesis, and then xi, you can do x, and with a subscript I, right? And then minus, and then you want to do x bar, right? X bar, you can't get it here. You can go to advanced, but you go to here. So xi minus x bar, I couldn't even tell here, has right parentheses, okay? So here, I'm gonna do for x bar, it's overline x. So then you have xi minus x bar, right? And then you can switch to basic. Now you want to have a square on top, right? So you have xi minus x bar square. It's a very time consuming. I don't recommend you to do that, but just do the best as you can. I'm not gonna penalize anyone for not writing the formulas in the right way. Just make sure you're clear, right? So be creative. And another thing you can do is you can do an image. So if you do all the work by hand and take a picture of it, and you can upload the image here, and it will appear here as well, okay? Any questions on that? Right, so this is assignment. This is homework. And then next one, we'll be taking the quiz. So the quiz is, you know, just, oh. So the quiz is timed. Homework is unlimited time. Quiz is timed. So make sure you're ready before you take the quiz. All the quizzes are about 20 minutes. So when the 20 minutes is up, you know, your quiz is done. And there's no second chance. Oh, there is. I think I allow you to do 2 times on the quiz, right? So once you start, you can see the timer will start from 20 seconds at 20 minutes, and it will, you know, step down. So if you have no time, then your quiz will close, and then whatever your answer is will be, you know, kept. Okay. So make sure you're prepared before you do the quiz. Okay. Questions? So then that will be the first module. So, and then for the next module will be exactly the same thing. Okay. And if you want to just look at your work that it be turned in, you can also click on assignments, right? So you have upcoming assignments here listed by time. Okay. And then you can look at your grades, right? And then discussion. I hope you guys can utilize the discussion. So anytime you have a question and you don't mind asking in public, you can just post it here, and everyone will be involved. You know, maybe Celeste can comment on here as well, and I'll come in to comment. And if you find something that's interesting, you can post it here. You know, it will be nice. It's something related to statistics. But discussion is very, very good tool. It's just not being used as it's supposed to. Okay. So that's basically the course structure. Anyone have any questions on Canvas? Or do anyone have any questions in general about the course structure, or some, you know, something you feel you want to have, but it's not provided, or some other issues that you encounter with when you go through the Canvas structure? Anything at all? So we're all good?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay, that's great. That's great to hear. Another thing, anytime when you learn a course, basically this whole diagram gave us the entire course contents. So anytime we talk about a new context, please try to think of where that context belongs to in the picture. That way, by the end of the semester, when you learn all the chapters, all the separate individual chapters, and then you're able to link them back together. You're able to connect. So stats is different from some other classes that you may have taken. It's like a chemistry and physics, like a science class. Everything is connected. And not like a history, it's like a parallel. If you're not good at numerical history, but you can still learn well, world history, right? But statistics different. If you couldn't get the previous chapters, you don't have a good understanding on previous chapter, it will be hard for you to move on to the next chapter because you will use, the basis of the previous chapters. So please, anytime when you have a confusion, anytime when you don't understand anything, ask right away. Don't hold. Especially we are in a much faster pace in the summer class than regular semesters. Regular semesters, you wait a week. It doesn't really matter much because you only have 2 lectures, right? But now if you go to a week, you wait for a week, we already passed like 4 or 5 chapters, right? So it's so different, so fast. Please be aware and, ask questions. Right. So if there's no more questions, we can just stop right here. And all the courses before exam 1 are already available. And then the second part will start to be available after exam 1. So I want you to go ahead of time, but I don't want you to go far ahead. All right. So let me know if there are any questions and keep communicating. Okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
So the Zoom meeting for tomorrow, do we have to be on that one? Like, is there anything for tomorrow?
No, that's just regularly scheduled office hours. I made it available from today, just in case some students start early, but I shouldn't have, I guess, because that caused some confusions. All the meetings in the future is only if you need to ask questions. Otherwise, you don't have to join any meetings. All the lectures are already pre-recorded. You should have access to all the pre-recorded lectures.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Have a
You're
good
welcome.
day.
All right. So just make sure you keep the due dates. All right. Follow the due dates.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.